Oh, up next, Barty's spoken about your racism. You're an amazing dresser. You managed to create a kid, which I think is awesome. Please welcome to the stage, Charles!
Yes!
This is the scariest part of my night right now. Charles is vicious.
I liked it when I came out. I assume this is for your cat.
Oh!
Yeah! Get dark, Charles! Get dark!
I had to get that out of the way. That's the only mean thing I'm going to say. I have nothing but nice things to say for all the people who are up here.
It's my cat.
But before I get to the people up here, I want to just applaud Kelly Stewart for letting his inner child molester out tonight. No, I have nothing but nice things to say about these people. Chip, I mean, I can't make fun of you. You just wrote a book. It's a book that tells entrepreneurs how to be successful.
Quiet, lesbian!
I mean, it's like they say if you can't play coach. I also can't make fun of this Dylan guy. One, because I'm sitting next to him, and he shared in the back that he's a pro wrestler, so he'll probably just chokehold me when I sit down. But I also don't have anything bad to say because, from what I understand, he's known Bergie the longest, so he's suffered enough already. Nothing there. And Jared. Yeah, I honestly, I couldn't come up with anything about you. Everyone's like, he's so easy. He's emotionally insecure. He's not circumcised. It's easy.
Yeah.
God.
A lot of credit.
I can't say anything bad about you because, again, much like Dylan, I feel bad for you. I've seen your playlist. Okay. Now I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't you expect me to say I've seen your penis? But the playlist is much more depressing. I didn't know that Maroon 5 had like a cover of Maroon 5. So much Maroon 5 is the point that I'm trying to make. So, all right. But for the man of the hour. I'm not up here to make fun of his half hipster, half Danny Zuko style. I don't want to talk about his legendary oversized balls or his ability to woo 40-somethings. Not just because her hair is white. I'm talking about after the show. No. And I'm not going to talk about the fact that he obviously has this weird shoe fetish because it's usually red, but tonight you switched it up, and that's your thing, man. That's your thing. Or that your real motivation is to move to Kanye's hometown to have like an ego off. Because that, much like Bergie, is all just very surface level stuff. And I'm... No, I'm not. I don't want to talk about that. That's reality, okay? Let's
have to deal with it.
Let's go to the place where Bergie much more prefers to live. Fantasy. And I don't just mean the general name of most adult shops. No. I want you to envision with me a bizarro world where right is wrong and up is down, and what would happen if Bergie were Batman?
Yes!
I hate you. That's gonna be in our apartment. Oh,
Something else.
Charles, you're the worst.
So just let's go with me here now. If Bergie were Batman, the Batcave would obviously be the green room, which still smells like guano. The Batmobile would be whatever car Capital Auto needed to move that day. Or maybe a bike because he cares about the environment. And I think the bat signal would be changed from visual to now be just an audible. And no one would use the bat phone because we can't wait 2 days for a text back. Things would change out there. The way that he does business, the way that he does business. If Bergie were Batman, he wouldn't listen to the police scanner, he'd just pick up things on NPR. And I also don't think any criminals would be punished due to Bergie's lack of a moral compass or really any guiding principle in life. But he would still fight injustice whichever one was most popular on Facebook at the moment. And, you know, if Bergie were Batman, he'd have to wear a full face mask, because that pale skin really gives away the element of surprise.
Yeah.
You know, out and about, I mean, when you think of Batman, you think of The Dark Knight. It's a very popular title for him. It's like a foreboding, just menacing force of strength. And so if Bergie were Batman, it'd probably instead be called like the Overcast Squire. You know, also when we know about Batman, he has a well-known reluctance to take a life. Of course, if that were Bergie, it would be changed to he'd have reluctance to get a life. And you know, Batman, I learned this, he is trained in 127 forms of martial arts. And so if Bergie were Batman, he'd be able to swim. We'd have to change some things up about the whole Bat universe. If Bergie were Batman, some of the villains would have to be renamed to better fit him. And so, the Scarecrow, you know, his main tool is fear. So if Bergie were Batman, the Scarecrow would now just be called Mr. Adulthood. Another one out there, the Riddler, at times he has just things that are very hard to understand, concepts that Batman just can't always grasp. So that'd be Mr. Responsibility. Then of course there's Bane. We all know Bane. He was, you know, in the movie, and he was like pretty much one of the only ones to be able to just break down Batman and just mentally and physically exhaust him until he actually crippled him. So that would be Mr. I got the Cartoon Network taken off the air. I know, that was dark. I'm sorry for that.
It's worse than the cat joke.
Like I said, some things would change about those villains. If Bergie were Batman, you know, in Gotham, I don't think he'd ever go after some of them. He wouldn't really pursue Poison Ivy because she could hook him up with some pretty killer weed. All right, a lot of people will say, yeah, that's a good idea. Not my crowd.
Not my crowd.
He'd never go after Mr. Freeze because they're equally concerned about global warming. Again, my crowd. I don't think that he would ever try to take down the Joker because that's obviously the only person who's going to laugh at his scenes in Chicago. Wow,
Yikes.
that's getting rough up here. Batman's very prolific. He's been in comics, he's been in cartoons, video games, Bergie's Wet Dreams, and he's also been in a lot of movies, as we know. And some of them are very high grossing. I give some props, you know. If Bergie were a movie version of Batman, it'd be a toss-up between Val Kilmer or Ben Affleck. Kilmer, because that's pretty much how Bergie sees himself in the mirror. And Affleck, because everybody wants to like him, but outside of the characters, he's a real letdown. Sorry. I'll take it back. All right.
I love that you're Charles's hype man.
On second thought, I take all that back. You would not be one of the movie ones. You would be the beloved TV version of Adam West. So that Bergie's needs to make sound effects during sex would be slightly less weird.
Blammo. Every time. Blammo.
We can't just talk about the man behind the mask or in front of it or weird beaver face thing. It's we have to also consider if Bergie were Batman, what about his alter ego? So if Bergie were Bruce Wayne, I know it's hard to consider two egos for Bergie, but if Bergie were Bruce Wayne, his source of wealth would be primarily government assistance. Wayne Manor would be renamed to the apartment my girlfriend pays for. And, I think though, either way, he would still embody Bruce's sense of philanthropy as long as the status updates got enough likes. You know, I really just have one more thing to say because I'm pretty sure everyone hates me. That is that throughout the whole thing, you'll notice whatever he's in the comics or we're talking about Gotham or any of those things, throughout all of this universe of Bergie being Batman, there would be no mention of Brooke whatsoever. Because then there would be no mention of Brooke, because then we would really know who wears the tool belt.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's the mean stuff. On a true note here, I want to say that Bergie has been a friend, he's been a mentor, a lover, of a good joke. It doesn't work. I first met him when he was teaching the open class. And you know, he always provided a good example of how to encourage all skill sets. Because anyone can come to that thing. Some people should, maybe. Anyway, and you know, honestly, I mean, he always, throughout every time that I watched him, he always found something nice to say about people. And so he's real encouraging guy, it's a real nice thing. Something that I don't do well with, and actually that's the one thing about you that I aspire to be, is someone who can... The one thing. This is the nice part. This is the nice part. And on a team, you know, I've performed with Bergie a number of times, and actually, you might not believe, he's very humble. He truly, truly is. I know, yes, this Bergie. But many times, I mean, he's the crowd favorite, the fan favorite, gets lots of accolades on the way out, and he never, ever really brings it up later. I mean, he never lorded it over us. He never rubbed it in. I know the Bergie does a much better job than I do, and I don't think that he ever made me feel that way, and I really appreciate that. It's very humble, and I honestly don't expect it, but it's always there. So.
This is the nice part.
It's the nice part. One and a half final thoughts. Overall, I support your plan. I do. I have to because Illinois is a spot on the Monopoly board. So. I also have a gift for you. It's not just this stand-up. Pretty sure you have to get another spot on the plane for that, or car, whatever you move. Oh, God. Here's this nice dinosaur bank.
Oh my God! What are you doing to me, Charles? I don't want any of this stuff.
I got you this bank for you to save up to come back. Not because you're not going to make it, but because I checked and marijuana is only legal in Illinois for medicinal purposes. So unless you hurry up and get glaucoma, I'll see you in January.
Well done, Charles. Well done. Awesome. A lot of real high points in there. I loved it. The onomatopoeias during sex with Brooke was great.